Welcome to the Smash series on lameness. I'm Noldy Rust, and today we are on the Swney farm with Dave Swney and Stu Rogers from Hoof-it. Today we're going to talk about the various parts of a crush and how to operate them correctly. All right, Dave, so you've got this crush here, Dave. Why did you get a crush?
Basically, a few reasons. One, ease of being able to do lame cows. It means we can actually have someone doing cows while milking's happening as well. So it's not a job that has to wait till after milking. Keeps the cow safe, keeps the person safe, or safer than doing it in the cow shed as well. And it actually also has a lot of other uses. So we could use it for carving and bits and pieces as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, good. So Stu, tell us a little bit about what are some of the non-negotiables? What are some of the really important things on this crush that you need to use when doing a lame cow?
Right. When farmers are looking to maybe purchase a crush for the first time, because let's face it, regardless of brand, the crush, any hoof crush is going to be better than the old Mark 1 hoof rope in the cow shed. It's going to be a lot safer for the animal, and it's going to be a lot safer for the operator, which is the farmer or the farm staff. So starting at the front here, the head gate, the head beel. Ideally you want a head beel that is there's no choke hazard, so it's open all the way down. Anything that's got bars coming across, I would say are a bit of a no-no, because if the animal collapses, you have got a choking potential, and we don't want that. Coming through, also, or sticking with that, with the head gate, you want it to be fully open. So you need as much, when the animal goes to leave, you want as much uninterrupted space for her to walk out, or the bull.
Yeah.
Okay?
And I guess a mechanism to open it that's safe for the farmer.
Correct, yeah.
And the cow as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's different ways of doing it. Some are operated from a rope or chain from the rear. Others have got a handle on the side where it opens.
Yeah.
But we're not going to dwell on that too much because we've got different brands.
Yeah. Yeah, so belly rope here.
Right. So you got
do they all have one or two,
Yeah.
3, 4? What's
different brands have got, this brand here has got one, sits in front of the brisket. Other brands have got two, so you've got one sits in front of the brisket, and then the second one will sit just in front of the other. And it comes down to operator. There's nothing wrong with having two belly straps.
Two's got to be better than one, though, doesn't it, or not?
Not necessarily, but it all comes down to how the operator uses it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
and actually using them? I mean,
Yeah, you have to. There's no point having a belly strap and it's lying on the ground or folded away somewhere when you've got to, because if you raise the back leg and the cow stumbles or does a little bit of a sulk and goes down on you, you're running risk of causing the cow damage. So when you have the brisket, the strap up and it's touching the front of the brisket, even if the cow does decide to relax and sulk on you, there's less chance of her, she can't go down, so there's less chance of her doing unwanted damage to her or injury to herself.
Right. And I guess by, like how tight do we need to wind these up? Does that sort of help keep her feel safe and secure?
The way I work it and the way I advise farmers is you want to restrain the animal to the minimum, because if she, so that she's compliant. If she decides to give you a little bit of a fight with you and you can come along and raise the belly strap another inch or so, a lot of the time that gives you enough time that relaxes the cow. She knows then, okay, you've superseded her psychologically, so to speak, and that gives you enough time then to finish the job you're doing.
Yeah.
With these mechanisms, you can lift the front feet off the ground, and you won't do the cow any injury, and that does take a bit of traction away from her so that she will be more compliant. Working with front feet, so we got the chains just to get out of the way. A lot of crushes have got these wooden or nylon boards for securing the front leg down to, and that's fine. It gives you a bit of security, and the hoof will sit through there.
Yeah.
The only downside to these mechanism now is if there's anything to do at the front of the hoof, sometimes you get this piece of board is just going to be in your way. Yeah. There are different models of crush now available that instead of the animal's foreleg being tied down, they're actually being tied up into a V bracket, so to speak, which is which does appear to be more comfortable for the cow, all due to the nature of how the shoulder joint works. The cow's more comfortable, cow's more compliant, which means you can do the job easier and she's under less stress.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Moving on.
Moving on to the rear of the crush. Thumb chain, I guess. I mean, I've seen quite a few different crushes. They have poles, chains. Yeah. What's the pros and cons?
So basically, you got your chain here, which is when your cow comes in and you've got her head locked, get the chain behind her as quick as possible, get her secure. So at least you've got Daisy secured in the crush. As she relaxes, we want to have this pretty tight behind her bum, around the other thigh area. What this does is this helps with when you were lifting the rear leg, you're coming up against this chain, and it helps then to restrict the muscle so the cow actually, the leg and the hoof get presented for the trimmer or the farmer in a safe way, and it also stops her, when this is tight, if she does decide to relax, she'll sit on the chain rather than dropping right to the ground, so she's not going to give herself accidental injury.
So if this is too loose and she does relax, she's going to slip.
She could slip out underneath.
Yeah.
So you want to keep that as tight as possible.
Yeah. Okay. And this function here of the quick release.
The function of the quick release then is, but when you want to let the cow down, when you want to let the cow out, you can, when you've lowered your belly straps, if you can open that, the quick release, even if she's sitting on that, as long as you can get the hook open, that will release and she will pop that out.
Yeah.
And she will be able to, you can reset it for your next cow, and away you go.
Away you go. Yep.
There's a few do's and don'ts on lifting the back leg. So you got your leg strap, and I always advise farmers is to put the small loop through the big D so they can pull tight, and you always have this strap above the hock, because when it's above the hock, it's kind of like being, it squeezes the muscles in the thigh, which takes a lot of strength and kick out of the cow.
All right.
But which makes the job easier. But also, if you go below the hock on the shin, if the cow fights, you have a chance of doing more damage to the animal.
Oh,
if she kicks out, there's possibly she could do a lot of ligament damage, and even maybe worse.
Yeah. So when it's around the muscle, it's
you're squeezing muscles.
A little bit like a headlock on.
More like an arm lock.
Yeah.
And you've got the animal and you're pulling that up.
Yeah.
And you can bring it up to a height that's comfortable for you as the operator to use.
Yeah.
Daisy will be compliant. She's going to be restricted, but she's not going to be hurt.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, on one of our next videos, we can actually have a cow
we can show it
and demonstrate the sort of do's and don'ts with that, because that's quite an important feature.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
The rubber matting, real important, is it?
Yes. You need a rubber mat. This brand of crush, underneath the rubber mat's a wooden floor.
Yeah.
Everybody knows wood gets wet, a little bit of cow muck on it. It's worse than a skating rink. So you need the rubber mat on top to provide a non-slip surface.
Yeah.
It's a non-negotiable.
Okay. Okay, just one last question before we move on. We don't have one on our farm, so we do it out in the pit. What would you suggest? What's the best way of doing it there to do it safely and all that? Any
there is no best way of doing it in the pit.
No.
You do it in the pit, you don't have the belly strap to help the cow. You haven't got a quick release catch when you've got the cow's leg up. You haven't got the animal secured inside a nice tight frame. If that animal you haven't got a non-slip surface. If that animal is tied up in the bale and you're in the pit and she slips and you have her tied up, you could risk dislocating a hip. So you've taken a $2,000 milking cow that's got a sore foot, maybe a wee bit lame, or maybe even just be overgrown toes, and you've turned her into a $40 pet food animal.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess Noldy's going to go buy one this afternoon. What's the price range, I guess, for a crush?
Basically looking at about $5,500 starting off for something really basic.
Yep.
Yeah.
You add extra options into it, like winching front blocks and rubber mats and self-locking head gates, extra gates on the back for leading the cows into the crush. Yeah, some crushes are 7.5. Manual crushes, you're up to 7.5, $8,000.
So you're not paying 10 grand, under 10.
You should be able to get stuff for well under 10 grand.
Yeah.
No,
So
we're not.
1,000 milk solids at $8. Eh? What do you
you
reckon? Eh? This might be the end of my one, eh? All right, we'll go and, good. Thanks for that. We'll
Sweet.
move on. Cheers.